So if you're thinking about moving to DC, Maryland, or Owings Mills in particular, this is the video for you, because today we're talking about Owings Mills with Tammy Brown, who's a real estate agent and a local in the area. She's going to be talking about the economics, the culture, the demographics, the schools, the restaurants and bars, the entertainment scenes, the events, and everything that there is to know about the real estate market in particular in that area. And if you like this video, check out our channel, because we talk about all the cities and the counties in and around the DC area to help out-of-state buyers learn everything that they need to know about where to move and who to call when they're ready to make that move to our area. So without further ado, let's get right into it.
Hey everyone, it's Zach with Living in DC, and today we're going to be talking about Owings Mills. And on the show today, we have Tammy Brown. So Tammy, go ahead and introduce yourself. How long have you been a realtor? How long have you been in Owings Mills, and what made you want to get into real estate?
Sure. Thanks again for having me, Zach. My name is Tammy Brown, everyone, and I am a real estate agent with Sotheby's International Realty in Baltimore, Maryland. I am going on my third very successful year in real estate. I have lived in Owings Mills, Maryland, which is a suburb of Baltimore County, for going on 11 years now. What made me get into real estate? So before I became a real estate agent, I was a wedding planner for 20 years here in Baltimore, had a really successful real estate firm, wedding planning firm. And I burned out. I was doing like 35 weddings a year and burned out. And so my husband suggested real estate for me because I still wanted to kind of help families transition, people in transitional points of their lives. My husband recommended real estate. I thought it was a great idea. Took the exam, passed it, became an agent, had a great, successful first 2 years. And so I'm going into my third. And I love it because I get to perform and provide that same level of like concierge, full service, full level service with my real estate clients. And again, really transitional points of their lives where they're buying or selling the biggest investment that they will probably have in life. So it's been really cool. I've actually serviced a good number of my old brides and grooms in real estate. I've started. So I kind of love it. It's full circle.
They're paying you twice. That's awesome.
Times in some instances, they got married, they purchased, and they sold. So it's
like, wow.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good cycle there.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for.
And oddly enough, they actually moved to Owings Mills. They're my neighbors now. They live like 4 miles away from me. Yeah, it's great.
Small world.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's cool. Thanks for telling us about that, Tammy. Speaking of Owings Mills, I'm curious about like the culture. What's the overall vibe there? Is it really small town feel? Is it, big city? What is it like?
Technically, Owings Mills is, like I said before, a suburb of Baltimore County, but it has a variation of vibes. So there are some parts of Owings Mills that really feels country. I wouldn't say rural, I would say country, because people have like large amounts of acres, with like farm style fences. My neighborhood is actually like that. Everyone in my neighborhood has at least 1 acre, like minimum.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's really cool. But then on the other side of Owings Mills, there's a new part of town called Newtown. And it's a little bit more like textbook suburban. You've got your townhouses and your condos and your single family. And then there's like the heart of Owings Mills, where there's a lot of development that's happening. And it's starting to feel a little urban. It has an urban vibe where you can get condos and apartments that are in the same shopping center, where you might buy your groceries, get your Starbucks, go to the gym.
That's nice.
Yeah, so you can get any type of living in Owings Mills. You want textbook, kind of homeowner association, luxury homes, colonial, single family, you can get that. You want a really chic condo, you can get that. You want country living, you can get that. Like literally you can get anything in Owings Mills.
How far away is Owings Mills from Baltimore?
So if you're looking to go like to the harbor in Baltimore City, you can take a quick shot from 795, get into the city, maybe 15, 20 minutes, depending on how you drive.
Wow. Okay, so like 10 minutes for me then.
Maybe 10 minutes for you. For me, it's closer to 20 minutes. Yeah.
And I'm curious because I know Baltimore has a lot of history. Is there any history specific to Owings Mills that you're aware of?
Yeah. So something really cool. Like I've often wondered, like, why do they call it Owings Mills, right? So
Good.
what I found was that Owings Mills was founded by like 1700 like pioneers is the word that they use. And it
Hmm.
was actually a place where they built mills. So there were flour mills and I think limestone mills. So it was literally a mill town. And
Huh.
so that's why it's called Owings Mills. I think it was named after Samuel Owings Mills. But it was also a mill town, flour and limestone.
Huh. So
Yeah,
double mills there. I was wondering if that was a last name, but it's also literal, which is kind
but
of
it's
cool.
also literal because people say that all the time if I'm giving my address. They're like, is it Mills or Mill? It's Mills because there were several mills. It's pretty
Huh.
cool. Yeah.
Well, that is interesting. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So economics, like back then, it was, it was a mill town.
Mhm.
What's the economy like now? And with jobs and where are people commuting? What does that look like?
So cool thing is, like I said before, there's so much development happening in Owings Mills that we're getting a lot of businesses, hotels, conference centers, restaurants, shops, etc.
Mm.
But the big heavy hitters in the city are a couple of them. Blue Cross Blue Shield Care First,
Mm.
huge headquarters here in Owings Mills. T. Rowe Price is also here in Owings Mills. You have medical, financial, pretty much the gamut of like healthcare and medicine you can find in Owings Mills, right? But
Mm.
because we're also in Baltimore County, people also still commute to like the main DMV areas, like Howard County, Washington, D.C., because again, you get right on 695 and it's a straight shot to 95. So a lot of people still commute to Washington, D.C.
Mm.
or neighboring counties. So you can kind of go anywhere because quick shot. Like I'm from Prince George's County, which is neighboring to Washington, D.C. It takes
Mm.
me about 40 minutes to get home. My husband works in PG County, again, right next door to D.C. Takes him about 40 minutes to get to work. So
That's not
he's a
bad.
commuter. Yeah, he's a commuter. But a lot of people do work locally as well because there's so much here, whether
Huh.
you work in, healthcare, finances, or if you want to work in retail, right? Or open up your own shop because there are a lot of small businesses in Owings Mills as well.
So would you say that retail is probably growing the most just because of the nature of like the growth, but it's still got, good healthcare and finance sectors?
For sure. Retail and hospitality, I would say, like I
Mm.
said, I've lived in Owings Mills for, 10, 11 years now. And since I've been there, maybe in the past 5 years, we've gotten 3 new hotels.
Why do you think that is? What is it? Is it something about Owings Mills in particular that's causing it to grow, or is it something just about the DC area, or what's your opinion on that?
So I saw last year during COVID, actually, I saw a local news report, and I'm probably not going to get the full name of the organization correct, but it's the Owings Mills Corporation something. But there's literally an organized body that developed and formatted or came together to bring more attention to Owings Mills. In Foundry Row, there's Foundry Row, St. Thomas Shopping Center, um, Mill Center, and Metro Center. And they're all like within like less than 5 minutes from each other, which is amazing. Um, and St. Thomas Center is being kind of redone right now where they're putting in a new Michael's. They put in a drive-through Starbucks, which made me really, really happy.
That's good.
Yeah, so they put in like they're just giving us all the upscale things, the Chick-fil-A, the upscale fast food restaurants. Wegmans is there now.
Hmm. Okay.
And so yeah, so it's that kind of thing that's happening.
What about entertainment? Because we've been talking about shopping a little bit. What about what are like the top 3 restaurants in Owings Mills, in your opinion?
In my opinion, hands down, any special occasion, my husband knows to take me to Linwood's. Now, short story, I became familiar with Linwood's through wedding planning and wasn't even aware that they were in our city probably for about 5 years before I figured it out.
That's a bummer.
They have amazing service, like Linwood's for sure. Brunch Spot Expectations, which is at Metro Center.
Okay.
They've got great brunch. I'm drawing a blank. It's an Indian restaurant. They have really, really good food.
Oh, I love Indian food.
Yeah, it's curry and spice bar. So it's a dine-in restaurant, but you can also have it door dashed. So either way, you get a great experience. They have really, really good food.
That's good to know. And I think if I visit Owings Mills, I've made a list of where I'm gonna visit now.
Woods for sure.
Sweet.
Yeah.
What about attractions? So we've talked like shopping, entertainment. What attractions are there, or if there are any, or parks?
There are. So one of the great things we have in Owings Mills is the Gordon Center. It's actually a performing arts center. So they hold dance competitions there, plays, musicals, all kinds of things. That's on like the more countryside of Owings Mills, but it is in Owings Mills. We have Hyper Kids, which is kind of like, it's like a trampoline park, arcade. It's called Hyper Kids for a reason. My son loves it there. So that's also in the heart of Owings Mills. Any other attractions? We do have an AMC theater. I'm not sure if you would consider that an attraction, but it's like
I love AMC, so I would say so.
it's the like not the upscale, I'm not sure, but like you know how movie theaters have kind of elevated the seating and their big seats and all of the things. So we've got AMC theater right here in Owings Mills. That's at Mill Station as well. And so there's just something to do all the time.
So when you mentioned the art center, and I was going to ask you about events, are there any other events that they do, like fairs or festivals or anything like that in Owings Mills?
Constantly. So Foundry Row is famous for like Thursday night music. So you can like take your picnic chair down to the shopping center, and they close off certain parts of the parking lot, and they'll have a band, and you can just go and hang out and listen to live music. So that's like regular, like every Thursday during the summer. We have great Christmas festivals in Owings Mills. Again, they're usually like through either the JCC, the Jewish Community Center, or any of the shopping centers. So like literally, it's always something.
So, and you said that it's big, like geographically, I'm assuming. What about schools? How many schools are in the area?
So public schools, you have around 10 total between elementary and high school. I feel like the superstar, I would say, I'm a mom, I have 2 kids, right? So we've done all of the details and all the searching for schools and such. The superstar of Owings Mills Public Schools is Newtown High School. It's it's newest built high school. It's a part of the Baltimore County Magnet Program, and it's also a part of the International Baccalaureate Magnet System, which is like an international cohort of schools. And they literally build curriculum around culturally savvy and sensitive children who are like independent thinkers.
So you mentioned like culture and independence when it comes to Magnet, or like that program. What does that mean?
So a magnet program, which is a great question. My daughter goes to a magnet school. So in Baltimore County, you can either go to what is a zone school, or you can go to a magnet school, which means you can kind of test out of your zone and go to a school that you specifically want to go to. So in high school, our high schools that are magnet schools, they have like majors. So one magnet program may be a fine arts program. Another magnet school may focus on finances and economy. Another may be business. And so whatever your young person is interested in, they can go to a high school and test into that high school that will prepare them for what they maybe want to do in college. It's really, really amazing. So my daughter tested, she's been a dancer all her life. So she tested and auditioned to go to Carver, George Washington Carver Fine Arts. It's not in Owings Mills, but
Yeah.
it's a part of the Baltimore County public school system.
So Newtown High.
Newtown High. So that's the superstar in the public school realm. Now, private school, Owings Mills is amazing for that. So if you're interested in having your child attend private schools, we have literally some of the best private schools in the state in the heart of Owings Mills. So there's McDonough High School, which they get students from all over the world. You can have your child like boarded there. Like it's a huge, the campus is like a Ivy League college or something. Like it's amazing. So you have, you know, your big schools like McDonough, you've got Gilman, even little small. So you have also like different religious based schools, like Jewish schools and Christian schools. So it's really a variation in that regard too. And they're all really, really good schools. Some a lot more affordable than others. Like you may be able to send your kid to a private school for $10,000 a year in Owings Mills, but you could also spend up to $30,000 a year. And I know that because we looked at them for my daughter.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like education is a pretty big focus, which is always good. So if you guys have children, Owings Mills seems like a pretty good option. So last section for you, I want to talk about the housing market because you are a real estate agent. So for somebody who is wanting to move into the DC area, if they're considering Owings Mills, what kind of homes can you find? I know previously we had talked about some of the more like country areas, as you would say.
Yeah.
You have people that like the minimum is like an acre, which is awesome. And I'm assuming that those are some larger houses in an HOA. And you had mentioned like condos and things like that in the more like downtown area of Owings Mills. What would you say is like the average home price and the average income, and how much house can you buy for that average price?
So if you're looking to get on average a 3-bedroom single family house, you're going to spend about $425.
Okay.
Right now, if you're getting like a 3-bedroom townhouse, you're going to be around $350. And again, that's average. Because this morning, in preparation for this interview, I said, well, what does the market look like in Owings Mills today? Today, because there's such a range that we talked about, today, we have houses on the market in Owings Mills starting in the 190s all the way to 12 million in one city, in one town.
And it's not a big city either.
But if we're talking on average, those are your averages, and that's what you can get.
That's not bad. How would you say that compares to Baltimore, like in the heart of Baltimore?
In the heart of Baltimore, see, that's hard because one of the things that I learned, and this will be really good information for your viewers, especially if you're looking to move, whether to Baltimore County, but especially to Baltimore City. Once you get into the city, it is not a matter of zip codes or a matter of communities. It is block to block variation.
Really?
Really. So imagine pulling comps.
Yeah, that's tough.
It's block to block. Like you may have 2 blocks at a time that are like at a, back to back that are fairly consistent. And then the next block, it could go up or it could go down, quote unquote.
Well, Tammy, thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate your insight about Owings Mills. We learned a lot of really cool things. If you guys are wanting to move to the DC area, now you know Owings Mills is a great option. We'll have Tammy's contact info. And of course, if you guys are wanting to move to the DC area, feel free to give us a call, book a time to talk with us, and we will figure out the best way to move forward. Tammy, do you have anything to say before we let you go?
Just that, the DMV in general is a great place to be. I've been here my whole life, but Owings Mills is like, I would never move. The only time we're moving away from Owings Mills is probably when we retire and move to Florida or something. And that's maybe away, right? But Owings Mills is a wonderful, wonderful community. It is a place where you can start and finish your real estate living experience. And so I would highly recommend it to anyone.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a great way to send off. Thank you all for watching. Contact and links will be in the description. And Tammy, I will see you next time.
See you next time. Thanks, Zach.